sure that the students are effectively involved in all these decisions that we are doing, we needed a new crop of leaders who actually can relate with some of the students' issues as we continue. So it was necessary that this is done. And as I said, the platform had been developed, it had been tested, and all it took was now to do a round of now preparation of the students to be able to actually utilize the same. So that the students were sensitized, the system was tested, the Electoral Commission, which I'm sure you have met, comprising of persons appointed by the Vice Chancellor, including students who are actually appointed by the students' government, have actually been part of this. They have tested it, and they are satisfied with the robustness of the system. And as you can see, the results that are actually being received are streaming online. So that what we are seeing is the vote tallying that is taking place as the persons actually vote. So we are very confident that it is going to give a true representation of the students' wishes. What I can assure you is that the voting infrastructure has been done in line with the provisions of the Universities Act, the amended Universities Act, which actually provides for the delegate system of student election. So that is provided for, and what is going to happen is that the students are electing the delegates, who in turn are electing the members of the Students' Council, and that is what is happening.
Yeah, and leaders really are known when there are crises. When we have issues to resolve, how well are you able to steer that ship that we call student body? Yeah. And I will not stand here to promise that we will not have challenges. Challenges will always be there. But that's how you are leader, to be able then to navigate and to be able to take the student through those challenges. If you have a small thing, don't always rush to come to me, because when you come to me, the first thing, Chairman, I will ask you, have you discussed this with the dean? If you have not discussed with the dean, I'll tell you, go back. Discuss with the dean. If the two of you cannot resolve it, or the three of you cannot resolve it, go to the DVC, ARI. If then the four of you can't resolve it, then now come to me. There's nothing that will be too difficult for me. That one I can assure you. I'll be able to solve everything. And solving everything does not mean that it has to go your way. But everything will be resolved soon, don't worry. The leaders that led the student, the disturbance that was there, and you know, of course, it was led by the other leaders who are, you know, there were 7, you have seen only 4. Yeah? The other 3 are the ones who are in the center of all this. And I'm sure by now you know. And one of the things that we were doing was spreading information that was not factual. They would come, we discuss, and we spent many hours. I know even one day we spent here 2 hours. The following day we spent in my house 4 hours, in my office 4 hours, talking and agreeing on things. But when they go out there, they start now sending in the Twitters, in the WhatsApp, yeah, things that are not factual. And you know, you as a leader, remember, you have a following. That's why you are chairman. You uphold the WESA constitution that you abide with the rules and the regulations of the University of Embu, and not only the University of Embu, but also Kenya as a country. Remember, you are above 18, so you are grown up. If you do anything wrong, then you'll be taken as a grown up, but you can be locked in.
You know, to do quality online teaching is actually this: you don't save, because you have to go an extra mile in terms of the things that you do. Online teaching will require that you allow students to interact with you. You engage them in online chats, online discussions. What that means is that you may even need to reduce on the student-lecturer ratio so that you are able to have effective interaction. Online teaching will require that you invest more in terms of, bandwidth. That means that as a university, we have to increase our bandwidth because it really consumes. Remember, you're doing video conferencing, you're doing video meetings. That means that now, because we expect people to work from home, we have to think about where they are, and in terms of airtime, we need to facilitate the staff to be able to interact with the students continuously. Otherwise, they'll be reluctant. So you see, you have to think about things like that. So yes, there's a cost in terms of the day-to-day expenditure, but there's another cost that comes now with ICT expectations. In terms of the expenditure by the university, actually the university needs a little assistance, so to speak, if it has to do the right thing, give the right quality of education, because that is what is very key. During this moment, and I think this is the most important thing to do, is to ensure that the students do not lose in terms of what they get. They should be able to feel that although they are not physical here, in terms of content, they still retain and get the same quality. That means an extra mile, an extra effort in the part of those who are teaching them. I think the universities will spend a little bit more on by going online, especially from an infrastructural point of view. If, of course, it were possible to be given what I would call, a startup capital investment to be able to do online, then I think the rest can actually, after a while, things should be able to be a little bit cheaper once you have invested in the correct infrastructure. If those students have to come back and you maintain the social distancing, then obviously you need to give them a few extra classrooms, because I'm sure you've heard, the minimum requirement is 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters is actually the space that is usually taken by, under ordinary circumstances, that would be about 2 or 3 students. So you can imagine you are almost retaining a third of the normal workload. So you need, at the very least, to double the infrastructure. But as I said, that may be a lot. But what we are saying is that we would really need to double the physical infrastructure. Of course, we're also exploring other options, and the technology is out there. That's why we're saying, if you have what it takes, there's always the technology of doing it. There are ways of carrying out practicals online. There are simulations that are actually available, computer-based simulations that can actually allow you to have a feel of carrying out an experiment in the lab. But you see, it is investment. It costs resources. So, yes, a little investment on the part of government can actually make it very easy for universities to effectively deliver on their mandate. Universities, we are not below capacity. Like in our case, we have 7,000 students, roughly speaking. When they are here, they utilize every resource. At no time, for universities, no, we have never operated below capacity. Infrastructure. Actually, what limits our growth is the physical infrastructure. If we are able to get the resources to actually expand on the same, and you can see we are doing a bit of expansion, which is again limited by the availability of resources, but then we would be able to actually grow our capacity. Other areas where government can help is, in the area of bandwidth. If there was something was to be done so that it is more affordable, then that would really help, especially out there. In some countries, I think, like in South Africa, I think they have zero rated in terms of taxation. Bandwidth, because it's now considered like it's really essential. Whatever is charged for tax is really reduced, so that if there was something like that done, then it would really help to boost online learning, and it would help those who are not able to.